So the New York Giants versus the Buffalo Bills. Sunday Night Football, prime time again, against a very tough opponent. A Super Bowl contender possibly with the Buffalo Bills. A lot of people don't, if you talk to Buffalo Bills fans, they're absolutely a Super Bowl contender. They seem like it. They're playing like it. The way they beat up on the Miami Dolphins and how the Miami Dolphins beat up on us, it seems like a task that's going to be a little bit out of reach for the New York Giants this week, especially with everything that's going on outside of the normal stuff like bad offensive line play, bad quarterback play, defense is stepping up a little bit. But without those first two things, good offensive line play first to go, and then, subpar quarterback play, and then no Saquon Barkley, possibly, don't know for sure. But he's probably going to be out. If Andrew Thomas is out, you're probably not going to see Saquon Barkley either. I don't blame him. Who wants to run behind this line? If you can run behind this line, even though there were a couple plays last week against the Miami Dolphins where Eric Gray was able to get loose a little bit. And I'm for one of those people that said, just give Eric Gray the ball. He's not doing a good job fielding these punts. He's not getting the chances on special teams. Go ahead and hand this man the ball and see what he can do. And, it wasn't a lot, but he did pop a little bit. He had a little bit more wiggle than Breda, a lot more lively legs. Go ahead and keep feeding that man the ball. So when Saquon Barkley does come back, you got hopefully a nice little 1-2 punch once the offensive line is back to where it needs to be. Now, I was in the spaces earlier today. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've been in a couple spaces. Not as often as I've been doing, because this week has just been, the last 2 weeks has been very, very busy for me. Moving, new state, getting things settled, stuff like that, life, just doing life things. So I wasn't able to participate like I normally do in the spaces. I was able to listen in. I was able to participate a little bit, but not on a day-to-day basis like I normally do. I normally, show my face in a lot of these spaces. And shout out to Charlie from Maine, because Charlie from Maine was like, oh, I went into hiding. No, Charlie, I was living life, man. I got things that I need to handle. But guess what? I'll be right back here to yell at you a little bit more, Charlie. I miss you too, Charlie. And so I'm just sitting back like, thinking about the past 5 weeks of the season and scratching my head thinking about what exactly went wrong. What is going wrong with the Giants? Because injuries from the jump, like Andrew Thomas hurt himself in the first game of the season, and we haven't seen him since. Joshua Zudu was the starting left tackle, against the Arizona Cardinals. Looked pretty damn good too. Looked comfortable. And then that pretty much fell off the rails too. And now he's looking as bad as possible. And I remember watching the Miami game and listening to the commentators, and they were talking about, how you were not mentioning the offensive line. And then right after that, I believe on one drive, you had like back-to-back penalties from Joshua Zudu. And then the sacks started raining in. And then here comes the pummel fest again with Daniel Jones and like the pressure, and the man is shell shocked now. And I don't know how you shake that. Like taking that type of punishment when you're already a little bit shaky to begin with. How do you get out of that? But here's the thing. He has a neck injury now. We really don't know what's going on. Brian Daboll's being asked those questions. He's really not going to give you a lot of information. So it's like we're not really going to see Daniel Jones. They say, oh, it's a day-to-day thing. We're going to take it all the way up into the game. So to me, we're probably going to hear, today's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday, we're probably going to hear about Tommy DeVito, getting brought up from the practice squad. Now, here's the thing. All right, Tyrod Taylor is a veteran. He's a veteran. You can call him a journeyman. He is a quality backup quarterback. But he even might be a little bit shell-shocked. What I'm thinking of, and I'm just throwing something out there. I'm just going to throw something out there. So with Tommy DeVito, again, if Daniel Jones is not healthy enough to play, they're going to bring up Tommy DeVito. And to me, You almost need a guy that doesn't know any better to go out there and take some chances, make some things happen with his legs, and make some things happen with his arm. A guy that does not have any expectations on him, because trust me, if you put Tommy DeVito in there, if you put him in there, there's no expectations for us to win that game. The crazy thing is, if Daniel Jones is playing, there's still not a lot of expectations for us to win that game. So with Daniel Jones being hurt, Tyrod Taylor being who Tyrod Taylor is, Tommy DeVito gets brought up from the practice squad. I wouldn't mind seeing both of these guys. You probably won't see him as long as Tyrod Taylor stays healthy and doesn't do anything stupid to get himself hurt in the game. You probably won't see Tommy DeVito. But I'm just saying, right now, you need a guy that can go out there, not know any better, and try to just make some plays with no pressure on top of him. Because again, what pressure does Tommy DeVito have? Tyrod Taylor still has a little bit of pressure. Like, it's still a lot of people saying, Daniel Jones is trash. Let's go ahead and see what Tyrod Taylor can do. But you still have certain limitations when it comes to Tyrod Taylor. You have some expectations. Tommy DeVito, absolutely no expectations. So the only thing that he can do is either look terrible and nobody's going to care, or have the possibility to make some plays, and then now you have a spark or a certain type of conversation that might happen. But that's just something far-fetched in the back of my mind, just jibber-jabbing, just thinking off the top of my head, and sharing that with y'all. So don't take that too seriously. That's just me thinking. You guys know I like to think about things. I like to think things out. And I like to talk those thoughts into not existence, but talk those things out to a real scenario where I can debate with myself, and just talk to you guys about that as well. But getting back to this Buffalo Bills game now, what it would take to win this game. Now, we saw it last week against the Miami Dolphins, especially earlier in the game. The best way to stop a high-powered offense is to keep them off of the field. On our offense, long sustaining drives for the defense, trying to get out there, trying to get off the field on third down. That's what you try to do. And it sounds like it's so simple, but it's not. Execution is a big thing. And what do the New York Giants lack? We lack execution. And is that a coaching thing? Is that a talent thing? Is that a mixture of both? I don't know, because we've been dealing with a lack of talent, quote unquote lack of talent for a while now. And then we see some of our players leave here, go somewhere else and find success. Not often, but at least a little bit of success where, you kind of think back to this team and you're like, well, what's it the coaching? I remember the Quaru brothers. Well, Romeo Quaru went to Detroit and had a pretty good season. Kennard was another guy, had a pretty good season. Some guys leave and they have, better season. And this can go all the way back to Ryan Clark. Like, we had Ryan Clark in the building. Really didn't play, but we gave him a chance. He went on to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers and threw together some pretty good damn seasons. Vasante Shenko was a tight end that we had, and we let him go. A lot of people don't even remember that. And when you think about it, has it always been a issue with the coaching and getting the best out of players, no matter who the regime is or what the regime is? You have to start thinking about that. And I know Brian Dable brought in his staff that he's proud of. Handpicked some guys. Some guys weren't handpicked. Some guys were maybe not the first choice. But at the end of the day, you put this squad together. You put this staff together. And it's not just like I'm saying it or a lot of fans. A lot of people are talking about the deficiencies with the New York Giants. You turn on the television and people are talking about this offensive line. You turn on social media, you got guys like Kurt Warner, Brian Baldinger. Guys are talking about this offensive line and how we can't, pick up a stunt. Why we are so bad at, just straight up man-to-man blocking. And it's not like everybody that you pick sucks. It can't be that. Your scouting department can't be that bad where all of these players that had success in college, maybe not the best players in college when you talk about certain people, but all of these people just can't suck. There has to be some coaching and some development that has to happen with these guys. And I'm just sitting back and I'm wondering, like, there has to be changes made on this team and this staff. Whether it's the offensive line coach, whether it's the offensive coordinator, whether it's whoever, you have to make these changes. It's not too soon now. We're going into week 6. It is not too soon to make some changes. And now we're talking about a primetime game in Buffalo. Homecoming for Brian Daboll. Homecoming for Tyrod Taylor. You know, there's a lot of people out here trying to see what's going to happen, man. And I'm just sitting back and wondering, like, okay, so the train has been running wild. When is this train going to derail and just fully run off of the tracks? Or is somebody going to be able to get control of this train and get it back to where it needs to be, flowing in the right direction safely? And I don't know where that person is or who that person is, but it needs to be Brian Daboll at the end of the day. It has to be Brian Daboll to be up here to make these changes. So going into this game, you know, again, my expectations are low. I'm going to root for my team and hope for the best, but at the end of the day, we're going to see what's going to happen. Somebody has to do something, you know, in order to make something happen for this team and in order to give the fans something to cheer about. So that's going to be my quick preview of the game. I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.